the most satirical Hollywood blockbuster of 2025. The nation's leader, Jung Han, orchestrates a shocking conspiracy to seize power and announces the dissolution of NATO. All because the president, once an actor, transformed himself and triggered political rivals to collude with arms dealers. The prime minister gave up on love and abandoned his childhood dreams, and on the way to the NATO summit in Italy aboard Air Force One, he struck with deadly intent. The political arena was taken over by an insider, but they ended up in Belarus. The operation began with a Spanish tomato fight as a cover to capture the Russian arms dealer Gradov. Although the plan seemed flawless, multiple Gradovs appeared at the scene. When his subordinates tried to identify him using facial recognition, Gradov seemed to be aware and moved nimbly. As a result, Boji couldn't sit still and requested the command center to deploy a surveillance echelon. Within 60 seconds of deploying this, they spotted a van and prepared to check the details inside, but they couldn't escape his watchful eyes, and in the next second, as gunshots rang out and someone fell, they realized they couldn't catch him. The killer fired a shot to unlock the door, and the man with glasses took over with his computer. As the loading bar completed, the sniper, in a fight, didn't expect to shoot the wrong person. Boji arrived just in time, but was shot in the abdomen. They watched helplessly as Boji collapsed among the tomatoes, using the sky as his blanket and the earth as his bed before the killer coolly left. The black British Prime Minister was sound asleep on the sofa. Then saw on television the American president, an actor whose approval ratings have soared, determined to act regarding London. As for Prime Minister Damu and William, early in the morning, the Prime Minister was diligently listening to Jane's comprehensive report. Unemployment has unfortunately hit a historic and unprecedented low, a situation that, while seemingly positive, often masks underlying economic challenges. Simultaneously, the humanitarian refugee crisis in neighboring Poland is tragically set to worsen considerably, demanding immediate and thoughtful international attention. The very next critical item on the urgent meeting agenda was a highly sensitive and covert intelligence operation in Spain that, to everyone's profound dismay, ended in absolute tragedy, resulting in the devastating loss of 7 highly trained and dedicated CIA and military personnel who were deeply involved in its execution. The Prime Minister also thoughtfully gave his own personal and insightful advice to his beloved wife, sagely stating that the biggest and most substantial financial gain ultimately comes from meticulously and prudently managing the household accounts with utmost care and precision. Little did he know, the American president was against him, because the president supported his rival, not him. The assistant explained the Prime Minister didn't respect himself, and things wouldn't be simple or smooth. The agent's operation failed. Cold water. The target is Viktor Gradov, a Russian arms dealer who has now gone rogue. A few years ago, Gradov got his hands on weapons-grade plutonium and set up a manufacturing plant. Since then, he has disappeared. Spanish authorities will arrest him. The British Prime Minister instructed his staff to keep an eye on a journalist named Jack because his articles, well, you can be sure he'll be digging into this story. The British Prime Minister hopes that the US President will stick to the pre-arranged script for the two leaders' first joint appearance. Piven simply passed the buck to someone else. Today's main focus is on light-hearted topics like new energy, which reflect the current trend of conspiracy theories. Before entering the venue, the US president specifically kept an eye on Jack's tweets, as if Russia, Venezuela, and Iran, these oil-producing countries, are about to fade from the stage of history. At that moment, a reporter inappropriately raised a question that the British Prime Minister ignored, but unexpectedly, the US president picked it up and set up a bachelor's column for him, helping him solve personal issues and publicly poking fun at himself. The British Prime Minister didn't need to, but Jack, with deep emotion, said, "You have your air nation. This is the result to capture an arms deal of cover and operation. The great officer, which we call it, because when we do get our hands on, he is going to be forming a special relationship with the concept of retribution, find out what went wrong, and learn from it." Leaks indicate you're ready to acknowledge the existence of Graham, which one says all of our emails, video conferences. Fauna say no comment to that. We have the tools. Draw them if they challenge us. We are, and we will work tirelessly to get results. We are United States results. I know President Derek, killed in Spain, spent a lot of time with special forces, trained with them. We must do better. We will do better. Acting role? Yes, you've never served. I would say to them directly, I do not salute heroes to you, Jack. To be clear, you never saw combat, but with all your respects, you don't equate yourselves with actual heroes. At this press conference, the rivalry between the leaders of the United States and the United Kingdom became a trending topic. The US president, exasperated, went to confront the British Prime Minister. The British Prime Minister said, "I've been in office for 6 years and you've only just taken charge." The British Prime Minister added, "I'm more concerned about how ordinary people can afford their mortgages and how they can pay for their children's college education." Both leaders' performances at the joint press conference were lackluster, and now they urgently need to repair their image. Meanwhile, Gladov asked the sniper why the technical expert he sent was almost mistaken for equipment malfunction, only to realize it was due to human error and his subordinates' actions. In that very instant, no one had truly expected that he, who had just sat down, would do such a thing. He even lingered at the boarding gate to take photos, providing material for editors at major media outlets, and ended up having a pleasant conversation. The US president continues to hover on the brink of death. At the very same time as the two heads of state were conversing, Air Force One's radar surveillance was then turned off, and Air Force One entered restricted airspace. Just as the two were locked in heated debate, they discovered an unidentified aircraft appearing in front of Air Force One. The captain immediately used the radio to hail the unidentified aircraft, only to discover that the entire radio frequency band was jammed. As the official and highly secure aircraft of the esteemed US president, Air Force One's comprehensive security measures seamlessly integrate cutting-edge technological advancements, robust military defense systems, and rigorous operational procedures. It is also meticulously constructed with special advanced bulletproof and blast-resistant materials, making it remarkably capable of withstanding bullets, shrapnel, and even significant nuclear explosions, thereby ensuring the president's utmost safety and well-being in virtually any challenging environment. Furthermore, all electronic equipment on board is heavily reinforced against powerful electromagnetic pulses to prevent the president from being incapacitated or compromised. The dedicated crew is also equipped with a specialized presidential escape pod as an essential emergency evacuation system. In practical terms, confirmed emergency protocols include a sealed isolation cabin and precise emergency landing procedures. Active defense systems. These encompass sophisticated anti-missile and advanced jamming technologies, comprehensive missile early warning systems, onboard radar, and a highly effective RCM system specifically designed to counter infrared-guided missiles, which, combined with strategically deployed chaff, together form a formidable and multi-layered interception network. Armed escorting the air. After takeoff, there is always a fighter jet formation accompanying the flight, providing airspace surveillance and firepower support. Flight strategies and deception tactics, such as the two-aircraft decoy method. For each mission, two planes of the same model are dispatched, with the president boarding one at random while the other serves as a decoy to confuse potential attackers. Flying at altitudes and along routes beyond standard regulations, with a cruising altitude of 45,100 feet far higher than commercial flights to avoid busy airways and reduce exposure risk. Powerful aerial refueling capability, supporting in-flight refueling, allows for virtually unlimited range, enabling continuous flight for 7 days and nights, while maintaining long-distance emergency communication and command capabilities. Airborne White House. All personnel and luggage must be weighed before boarding to ensure flight balance and safety. 7 real-time risk avoidance routes are staffed by military personnel. Anti-terrorism and emergency protocols feature decoy luggage with regular baggage to deter tampering. Military customized fuel. Performance enhanced with physical defense, dynamic missile defense, and electronic warfare, forming an integrated survival loop. Dual aircraft deception tactics, mislead enemies, escorts refined defense. In 2020, incidents of drones approaching still occurred. Fortunately, the heads of state of the US and UK had their security personnel equipped with parachutes. Fourth, in Air Force One, the following scenes feature prototypes that remind people of the movie London Has Fallen 2. Prior instructions were to head to the nearest safe house company. A safe house is a common intelligence term, referring to a temporary secret location set up by intelligence agencies, and both the CIA and FBI use them. The main functions of a safe house include providing a hiding place for intelligence personnel and serving as a secure location for intelligence exchanges. Such places are usually equipped with communication devices, weapons, and basic living supplies to ensure self-sufficiency during operations. A safe house's 3 main principles are security, outsider control prevention, and emergency readiness. It should be concealed, not integrated, to avoid attention. Safe houses are often rented under false names for surveillance. When choosing remote locations, geographic isolation is prioritized, and evacuation routes are carefully considered to prevent blockage. To counter internal hijackers, safe houses have rapid monitoring and defense systems. Hidden cameras are installed around the perimeter, and some sites have police search capabilities, depending on mission requirements. Soon, footage of Air Force One's crash was broadcast. The outside world speculated US and UK leaders had perished, discussing potential motives and suspects. Elizabeth K.E., the beautiful vice president of both the US and UK, was attending the NATO summit as a celebration, but it became a memorial at the crash site. They wouldn't allow any delay. Before anyone could finish speaking, the US president took out his phone to let the First Lady know that he was still alive. Facing the current situation, the two had just experienced the most severe security breach in history, so they had to assume that whoever wanted them dead was listening in at that very moment. If we fall into enemy hands, we become bargaining chips, substitutes for extraction. In worst case, they might kill us to send a message, create tension.
You see, it's right there, right? Or it pisses off. You want me to piss off? Okay, I'll piss off. I'll piss off all the way to Warsaw. Enjoy spending the rest of your life as a bird's egg dream.
The two of them witnessed a horrific crash of Air Force One. Now, their top priority is to survive and make it back, so they can uncover the truth and rescue the mastermind behind the scenes, the one who orchestrated all this. It takes real nerve to attack Air Force One, and this is probably just the beginning. More is likely to follow soon. The US president's backup system, the contingency plan for the corrupt president's office, knows it needs rebooting, and the countdown has begun. The team also successfully infiltrated the system from Deladovna's side. The leaders of the US and UK were about to head to a house to steal a few young guys' cars, which led to a scene involving the US and UK leaders.
You know, Water Cobra. Still nothing. I think you should give him a march. Chesky-promises have to do some comfy lessons because we're about to get our asses kicked. Mayor, read the room. No, first things first. First things first. Thanks to Akina, you can.
Simulator. When the two national leaders spoke as Canadians, this also made the US president.
Two kinds. Canadians? I'll just say Canadians. Every last American's hockey isn't American. Imagine a Canadian Chadman crossing the border to Warsaw, operated into the territory in Warsaw, while saying out to soldiers, checking, and the US and European presidents.
He gave his own watch to peace, not wanting to see any more devastation. Inside Warsaw, within the CIA surveillance footage, at this moment the technical expert, the man with glasses, said, "We already got what we wanted when we shot down Air Force One. That's something we've accomplished." Once their uncle died, they wouldn't survive past New Year's Eve. As soon as they spoke, they contacted the female assassin by phone, who then took a helicopter to Warsaw to hunt down the two heads of state. Afterwards, someone threw a political grenade at the NATO meeting site. Hours ago, a batch of classified documents was leaked. Industrial espionage, economic sabotage, and influencing enemy nations. But when it comes to going against each other, this is like Monica and Rachel in season 2 real drama. I mean, tomorrow's going to be a stomachache. We don't go through any processing. Here, Sister Bo needs to quickly take the two leaders away, but they're still arguing endlessly.
Okay, it's back to the center. No, Ianad. The vice president was born in a few, and he has never been commander-in-chief of anything. That's not an actual head of state again. And two guys get a shit out of luck.
Just a few days ago, both of them still held all the power in their hands, making people envious. In the constitutional monarchies of Britain and America, the king is the nominal head of state, and in law holds broad powers as head of government, powers that originate from Article 2 of the US Constitution. For example, the core provision approved in 1967, Section 1, states that if the president dies, resigns, or is removed from office, the vice president becomes president. Section 3 states that if the president voluntarily steps down, and Section 2 says that if the vice president and a majority of the cabinet determine the president is unable to perform his duties, the vice president will act as president. This clarifies the chain of succession. If both the president and vice president are unable to serve, the next in line are the Speaker of the House and the President pro tempore of the Senate. In this film, each instance is based on Section 4, which involves transferring authority from the anesthesia examination room. At present, that is the safest area. To keep the mission on track, taking the train is the best opportunity for the three of them. Just as the British Prime Minister and Boris were making things better for the winter, the light bulb suddenly and inopportunely lit up, because I want to build a better world for all. Right, to go all in, to get up. Meanwhile, on the female governor's side, there was a burly man, and following behind them was also Grado. When the two prime ministers collided, the burly man actually seemed to have struck the man with glasses, and he also arrived in time to rescue the leader. As for his own motivation for doing this, it turned out that he himself did not agree with Gradov's way of handling things. At the same time, he also knew that Gradov could never accomplish these things on his own. With assistance, Gradov had the chance to enter the echelon system, and then destroyed Air Force One. Good look, there is it's precisely 12 o'clock, the very long and winding Vasquez Street in the quiet and peaceful town of Cedar. Please, give me your hand, this particular prop. I do it. It truly drives me absolutely and completely crazy, beyond all reasonable measure. After saying this, the man with glasses closed his eyes forever. Then, the scene shifted rapidly. The acting female president of the United States was still in secret talks with several NATO countries, trying to find out the timing of the intelligence leak. However, representatives of these countries had seen through America's true intentions and expressed their desire to withdraw from NATO and act independently. Meanwhile, a car, following the address given by the man with glasses, arrived at a dilapidated palace. From a guard's eye view, the three were located. Sister Bo made a snap decision for them to split up. The US president and Sister Bo would enter the intelligence system together to find the traitor. In fact, judging by their actual abilities, they were just a bunch of incompetents. When Sister Bo accessed the system, she discovered that the traitor was actually the US president. But unexpectedly, in the very next second, 5 coins.